Hi, I'm Ryan Rittenbeck, and I'm the CEO of Spyglass Realty. And in this webinar, I want to give you guys a history of where we came from, where we're at now, and where we plan on going in the future. I started Spyglass Realty in 2008. But before that, in 2004, I started another brokerage. We had a California broker who had partnered up with us, myself and my local partners, and he was running seminars in Orange County for investors. And he had an office here that he's partnered with in Arizona, here in Austin, and in North Carolina. So he would run seminars for investors to be able to sell them properties in those areas that we just mentioned. And at that same time, we started a property management company. We did that for a few years until the market bust. I got really heavily involved in selling investment property, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. But I did learn that property management is a very tough road to travel, especially if you've got a heart of a salesperson. So we ended up selling the accounts for the property management company, closed the doors on that property management company, and dissolved the partnership. And so I started Spyglass Realty in July of 2008. Now, if you remember, if anyone was around back then still selling real estate, it was a bad time. I started that company in my little corner desk in my house, and we called the company Spyglass Realty and Investments. And I started by sending out a newsletter called the Top 10 Foreclosure List. And I started getting all new investors doing investment property, helping people buy investment property. And that went on for a while and managed to make it out of the Great Recession, as it was called. And so right about 2010, I started to realize that I wanted to get into regular residential sales. When I first started real estate, I kind of thought that being a realtor was very hokey and I wanted to be more of an investment specialist. That was what I had in my mind. And what I realized is that if you're selling investment property, it can be very seasonal when it comes to when the market's good and the market's bad. I honestly believe working with investors is great, but after doing this for 20 something years, I do not think it should be the bulk of your business. I think it's something that provides extra revenue, as long as you know what you're doing. So, right around 2010, I got it into my head, 2009, 2010, I got it in my head that I wanted to be a top producing agent, and I was going to do everything I can to be what most people would call a top producing agent. And what does that mean? It means you sell a lot of property. It means you're recognized for your sales. And there was an Austin Business Journal. Right around then came the Platinum Top 50 Realtors. So I had some investment properties at the time, sold one to kind of float me through this journey of education. And I started going to conferences. I invested in coaching. I networked with people around the nation and very quickly learned the habits and techniques of how to become a top producing agent. And what that means is you have to have a process. You have to have a system for everything you do. When you present to a seller that you're going to list their home, you need to have everything you're going to do lined up, and you need to be able to prove to them and show them how you're going to do it without just making stuff up. So I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars in order to get that knowledge and create the systems. At the same time, I had about 4, maybe 5 people on my brokerage, friends of mine in the business. I have no idea why they were with me. And the reason I say that is because at this time I didn't provide anything. They just wanted to hang their license. And so I said, okay. Well, 2011, I believe, was the first year I made it onto the Austin Business Journal Top 50. And then I think it made it in 2013. And I know whenever the first year came out for the Platinum Top 50, I made that, and I made it 9 years in a row. So very clearly achieved my goal of becoming a top producing agent. Around 2015, I realized, going to these conferences, getting these systems that I've used, which are, back in the day, the first one I used was Tiger Leads, and it was an all-in-one system that, you've got your website, you've got lead gen, and you've got a CRM, and quickly learned that I was really good at bringing in internet leads and converting them. So I decided that I would build a team and really make this work in the sense of, I had my own brokerage back then and still do. It was Spyglass Realty and Investments. And I wanted to actually use the brokerage to take what I've learned over the years in terms of how to become a top producing agent and what I've learned in terms of educating my agents on the systems that I have used and the systems that we put together based on the education, right? So we got a few more agents. We got about 7 to 10 agents. In 2018, I had an agent of mine. At this time, I think I had about 15 or 16 agents. Okay. And, when I top producing agent at the time, I was selling real estate and I was the managing broker. Well, when that happened, I was telling my agents that I would be available for them whenever they needed to, but really I was busy. And I had a top producing agent leave, and she was a friend of mine, and she said, "Ryan, you say that you're available, but you're not really available. You can see it on your face, the stress." And that was opening an epiphany for me. I knew that if I'm going to be able to scale this company, I got to get out of production. And I would say that that's probably true for anyone that wants to build a team or brokerage to a level past, 9 or 10 agents. Okay. So I, again, dipped into my real estate portfolio, sold the duplex that I owned in order to finance me through the next year and a half of lost sales. So in 2019, we had 19 agents. I remember because of 19 and 19. And my goal was to scale within the next 3 years to get to a place where I'm not dependent on actually selling real estate myself. I can just spend my time mentoring and coaching agents. So we went from about 19 agents in 2019 to 2022, we had about 100 agents. It was a massive success, and I did that by scaling the systems, and I also had an amazing leadership team. I've got an operations director. She's still with me. She's been with me for 13 and a half years. I've got a sales director. I've got a marketing director, and I've got a relocation specialist now, right? So we put together an org chart. We have weekly meetings, and we're going to focus on how we want to grow our business from here on out, okay? And the way we differ from other brokerages or teams, we're more of a hybrid model. And let me explain what that means. When you have teams typically focus on providing leads to agents, but they don't help them, not in all cases, but in most, they don't really help them get self-sufficient. And the teams usually take a bigger split. Well, with a brokerage, it's completely different. They get agents on to their brokerage. They don't provide them leads, but maybe they help them with some tools and systems to help them cultivate their leads. Our system is designed so that we can help agents that are newer or maybe even brand new, even though we don't hire brand new unless they're with a team, which we do have several teams, get their pipeline filled. Here we call it the race to 200. And the reason we call that the race to 200 is because at the 200 past client mark, meaning you've done 200 sales, if you're working the system right, you are using our automation to send them property value reports. You're sending them once a month a newsletter. You're giving them seasonal gifts, which we have set up for, on the calendar date of the close of anniversary date of the closing, and on their birthday, you're giving them gifts. It's a touch. That those 200 past clients should yield you 20 referrals a year. Now, you have to remember, it's not, you can't just have 200 and just not do anything. You've got to work the system. So while we're implementing lead strategies, we're also implementing referral inducing strategies. So 2022 happens, and we were using Zillow Premier paid Zillow ads, and we also brought in PPC from pay-per-click through Google, and search engine optimization, which are Google organic search. So we brought in leads from everywhere. We were approached by Zillow. Zillow started this program called Zillow Flex. You may or may not know of it, but basically it's a pay-at-close referral system. And so within about a year, we got very good at converting their leads. We were number one. And even now, to this day, we're consistently between number one and number three in terms of conversion metrics. But here's the kicker. We have double the agents that number two or number three have on Zillow Flex. So they see us as a very good working model. So much so that at the end of 2024, we expanded to the Houston market. Now, at the time of this recording, we're in May of 2025. Our office is thriving there. We have 25 agents in Houston. And so where that comes back to is, again, we have all these lead sources that we train our agents to be successful on, helping them win the race to 200. And so what happens there is when you fill up your pipeline, the purpose of any agent is taking leads. If you're with my company, you take my leads because your pipeline is not full. And once your pipeline is full, then you wean yourself off of my leads. Now, we have agents that have been in our brokerage for many years, and they have gotten off of leads, and then when they come back periodically, say, I want to fill up my pipeline. So that's completely fine. So that's the main definition of what we call a hybrid model. Now, let's talk about 2025 again. In January of 2025, we decided that we wanted to join forces with another brokerage, either an investor or a brokerage or something bigger than what we were, in order to provide more amenities and services to our agents. We interviewed lots of different companies, and we ended up going with Real Brokerage. So we wanted to adopt Real Brokerage back office, but we wanted to remain independent and keep our identity. So we joined Real as a private label independent company. And what that means is we don't, at this time, use Real on any of our marketing. We use their technology. We use their platform. It's an ecosystem that we are able to connect with other people around the nation. And so we're able to use our own marketing and branding while still having the benefits of Real, which is their technology. Agents get stock awards, and if they recruit, they can get rev share. And one of the reasons we did this is because we have team leaders that sometimes we have a new agent that wants to come on, and we'll give it to a team leader, and this new agent will join a team, and they'll get mentored by that team, and then they'll leave the team and join our brokerage. Well, with this model, if they're doing that, even if they leave the team and join our brokerage from the team leader is able to get rev share. So that's one of the main reasons that we did this. So the video you're about to see is a presentation that John McCarthy, my sales director, and I did at the Follow Up Boss conference about a year and a half ago. And it shows a lot about our team structure, our leadership, how we handle problems, and more specifically, how we help agents fill up their pipeline with company leads and then help them induce referrals and past clients that turn into repeat clients in the future. It's about a 30-minute presentation, and I think it will shed a lot of light on how we operate here at Spyglass Realty. So we will see you at the end.
This is an opportunity for us to feed our culture, not to brag about how well we just did, but let's get our people involved in what they just accomplished.
We're really excited to be here talking about something that's near and dear to our hearts, which is building a company culture, using your mission statement and core values to help your team grow in the right direction. And it's kind of fitting that we're opening up for John Sheplak because we stole about half of this shit from him. And there's a QR code right there. There's a link that says FubCon Sheets. There's some worksheets that you can use with your agents, and you can download that from the link. So here's where we came from. I started Spyglass Realty in 2008, really to just be an agent on my own terms, and I had a few agents with me for a few years for reasons I have no idea. In about 2015, I realized I had a knack for bringing in internet leads. I was with Tiger Leads before that, and I really decided I wanted to put a team together and build out a real brokerage. And here is a look at where we are today. Actually, that picture is from last year, and that was about half the people at our brokerage. We have about 130 licensed agents, 6 full-time staff, 5 overseas staff. We've done about 250 hours of community service each year and closed well over 5,000 transactions. Thank you. So this graph here is, if you guys ever read the book Good to Great, they talk about the hedgehog concept. And what they do in Good to Great is they measure the companies that were great, and a lot of them, this is called the 3 circles graph. And what they did was they measured things like, what are you deeply passionate about? For us, it is getting good people. What can you be in the best in the world at? For us, it was helping agents improve their production. And what drives your economic engine? And for all of us here, it's selling homes. And in the middle, where these 3 circles intersect, that's the hedgehog concept. And the idea here is that the great companies that were studied in this book focused really, really hard on what they wanted to do, and they revisited it over and over and over. And so when it came to defining our mission statement and core values, this is what we came up with. And I will say that I saw Chris Lindahl speak probably like 5 years ago, and he came out and said, how many of you guys have a mission statement and core values? And the whole audience raised their hand. All right, how many of you guys can tell me what they are without looking at your phone? And then everyone's hand went down, and I was there. So when we were studying our mission statement and core values, we came off the hedgehog concept, and our hedgehog concept is optimal agent production, which we turned into our mission statement, which is making good agents into great agents.
So, like Ryan had just mentioned, the hedgehog concept is a simple crystalline concept which guides all your efforts. So once we understood this and understood what was the most important for our organization and putting together our core values, I remember when I was a realtor and I onboarded with Ryan, he handed me this pretty little framed document that had our core values and mission statement on there. It had all these catchy little phrases on all this cool stuff, and all the agents got it. And then we defined this, and turns out the core values that I've been practicing real estate on with Ryan Spyglass for so long didn't mean shit. This does, because we really understood what it was that we were going to be good at. So this makes it easy for our organization to understand which agents are going to be successful with our company and which agents aren't going to be successful. Simple core values: be smart, do the right thing, all in, take action. And we've also weaved into our company the accountability and culture with this as well. And what I do on Tuesday mornings, we have a team huddle via Zoom right now, between 50 and 70 agents on there. And each morning on Tuesday, I put up a post through our workplace channel and ask the agents to send me examples of other Spyglass agents that they've seen exemplify our core values. And then I'll do a shout out during our huddle every week to the agents that have demonstrated our core values, what they've done, who they've helped. And this really resonates with the team because they're able to hear and broadcast it and feel and see the camaraderie and the success of all their peers and their agents from really plugging in and being all into our organization and our core values.
So the process of how we solve a problem, we use EOS. This was another thing that we picked up from a Sheplac conference. We tried to self-implement for a couple of years. I can tell you, don't do it. It's just easier to hire an implementer. It's much faster. But when an agent has an issue, they bring it to our leadership. And then we will take that issue and we have our L10 EOS meeting once a week. It's an hour and a half. We do IDS, identify, discuss, solve. And then we come up with a solution, and then we bring that solution to the team. An example of this is that we were looking for a solution for nurture leads. We wanted to be able to have a longer pipeline and able to help these people nurture. So we came up with newsletters that for each part of Austin, like North Austin, South Austin, downtown Austin, and brainstormed, used ChatGPT to make a different types of newsletters. So when an agent has a client who's not quite ready, there's a 10 email newsletter that goes out every 2 weeks and cultivates the client based on the area they're at. Like if they want to look at best coffee shop or dog parks in downtown.
So the feedback loop is another amazing tool that we took from John Sheplac's coaching. And this allows our agents to have a platform where it provides transparency. They can provide feedback to us. They can provide anonymous, or actually we found out that 95% of the time they actually provide their contact information. And it's because we have a promise to them that if they fill out this feedback form, we're going to provide a solution or a response to them in a week or two, because they know that we're going to go to our leadership meeting, we're going to identify, discuss, solve, and we're going to put out a solution. So this information comes over to our leadership team for us to reply to, and also our Three Circles committee, like Ryan mentioned earlier. Our Three Circles committee is our board of advisors within Spyglass that's comprised of agents within our company, and they understand what our focus is, our hedgehog concept, agent profitability, and what we need to do. So when we're looking at this feedback and asking for feedback, we're looking for feedback and solutions that are going to help move the organization forward, not just the agent, but everything that we're doing as a whole. So we really have this is an accountability thing. So the whole company is all along on the same path.
The flywheel, this is another thing that our job in onboarding agents is getting them to buy into our vision, right? We would try to be as transparent as possible. And so, it starts with attract and retain great agents. We help them automate the agents' businesses using Follow Up Boss and automation and Ylopo. The agents increase their volume, which leads to elevated Spyglass and the agent's brand, creates agent referrals, and then starts all over again. But we show this to our agents in onboarding because we don't want, we want them to know what our vision is and why we're doing it.
So something that's really awesome that we offer are company leads. We have hundreds of company leads every single month. I run the #1 flex team in Austin, and with our company leads comes all of the training, protocol, the automations, technology. The reason we're here today is to teach our agents how to get out of the rat wheel so that they can become self-sufficient. So we're teaching them, not only is it just contract writing, but strategies, negotiations, everything that they need through our company leads, and feeding it into that flywheel so that we can automate their business. We can automate their referrals and essentially elevate our brand and theirs and make their business a lot easier.
Converting company leads into referrals. This is another thing that we show our agents up front. If we try to hire veteran agents or agents that are newer in the business, but not new agents. So we do really well with taking agents from teams where they provided leads, where they don't provide that kind of off-ramp to the leads. And so we show them closed company leads, goes into Follow Up Boss. We use automations through Follow Up Boss. We have a property alerts, automatic newsletter, videos, and that creates a referral for the agents so they can have their own business. So this is how we're using Follow Up Boss to recruit. I have a list. It's basically A, B, and C. You'll see the tag there is super duper hot, which I made up. And it's about agents that are within 30 to 90 days, they could move over to our company. I use the Follow Up Boss recorder. I use the text message. No one's checking on my leads. No one's listening to my shit, so except for me. But it really helps because I'm able to have that conversation with a lady that says, you know, last time I talked to her, your son was getting married in Hawaii. You know, really using that stuff the same way we teach our agents to use our systems. And then this is another thing that I think everyone here should do. We have a smart list with every single one of our agents on it, 130 agents. So when we have a meeting or a happy hour or a training, the way this works is kind of like your recent activity. If we have not marked a call log on there in the last 2 weeks, they show up on there. So after we have a company meeting, we'll say, guys, leadership, or before we have a company meeting, we'll say, our leadership meeting, we say, go in there, mark off anybody else that you've talked to, and that way the people that are left are the ones that no one's talked to. Because one thing I've found as a broker and a team leader is just because you haven't talked to an agent does not mean that they're doing okay. So when you whittle that list down to 30 or 40 people and you call every 2 or 3 weeks or you text and you communicate, they really feel appreciated.
So with what we've learned with agents and goal setting is that agents have a vast array of goals if they have a goal, and they have no idea how to get there. And it's a really painful process for them to figure out how do they get their goals on paper, where do they go, what do they and what do they need to put in front of them so that they know every day what their job looks like. So we've created a very simple, organized Google Drive folder for them. It's a goal-setting workbook with a bunch of different exercises in there for them to work on. And the first one's a video. It's a 7-minute video that explains on what they need to do on every single one of these items as they move along. And this is what they're working on as they're growing their business. So this is how they tailor make their business, right? So as I knew when I was an agent, it took me years and years, and I think it was probably Lee Adkins who put some of these resources in front of me first and really extracted the information from me. And it took a lot of time and realizing, well, how can we create an efficient process for the agents to take some of the pain away from goal setting? So this is really easy for them to plug into so that whenever we do meet one-on-ones, we're having a conversation about what's important for their business, and I can put action items in front of them specific for them. So these are some examples of completed items that the agents do. There's a lot of exercises in here, and they're all designed specifically to take the agents on a path of self-discovery so that they know, because like me training the agents, and a lot of y'all know this, I can tell them the same thing 100 times or 100 different ways, and it's not going to matter if it's not relevant to their business. So this allows us to customize and shape their business, and the ones that plug in and do all of these things are the ones that are the most successful within our company. And they're the ones that are happier within our company. Whether it's the highest production or not, they have a clear plan on what they're going to do every single day so that they're good in their business. And so this is another John Sheplack coaching trick that we took out of his book, Go to the Board. This is critical to outlining our agents' goals. 3 simple questions. How many transactions do you want to close this year? What's one lever in your business that you want to focus on that hit those transactions? And what's one thing in your personal life that you can accomplish from hitting your transaction goal? So this is an exercise that we do on a larger level that I'll talk about in a minute. But when agents are onboarding, they answer these 3 questions in a series of assessment questions that they answer. So when they onboard with me, I look at this, size up their what, because we're bringing agents on every week practically, so I'm really got to figure out what's going on. And then I plug and I show them the goal setting workbook. Say, okay, your go to the board questions, your goal setting workbook, this is what you're working on outside of like company leads products. So if you're coming to me and you need help with your business, if you haven't done any of these things, I really don't know how I'm supposed to help you because we're kind of just flying in the dark. So
you might ask, how do we keep all this together? We use Workplace by Meta, and if you're not familiar with it, it's basically like Facebook. You have your own Facebook groups, except you don't have your idiot friends and relatives or advertisements, right? And so each agent has their own agent development page, and you can see right here we put the go to the board at the top of what that agent wanted to produce. And then on the right, you'll see, next one, hold on. Okay, so we also, the only people that are in this group besides the agent and the leadership are VAs. So we put the digital assets in there. We do a monthly photo and video shoot that agents can cycle in, and we will have different headshots, lifestyle shots, bio videos, whatever. And on the right, anytime Johnny or one of our team leaders does a live training with them on Zoom, he streams it live into Workplace. And the reason he's doing that is the agent has a record of that. There can never be, oh, you didn't tell me this. We can always go back and look. The agent can go back and refresh. So each agent, if they've been there for a year, they'll have 15 different private coaching sessions in there.
I love those agent development groups because I remember when I started in my position, Ryan didn't exactly have a blueprint for a sales manager job. He just said, you got to come out of production and help me run all these sales agents. So one of the things that we did was, I lost my train of thought on that, but I don't want to get off track. Let's take this. So this is something, back to go to the board goals that we do. 2 years ago, at the Board of Realtors, we had about 40 agents in the company, and we had them write their 3 questions, go to the board on these giant white Post-its, and it made for some really amazing social content. So we walked through it, and we videoed on the room and all the goals and everything. So what we did at our annual summit this past year in January of 2023, we put on a summit in Austin for the agents within our company. For the first half of the day and the second half of the day, we invite agents from outside of the company, which is a huge recruiting opportunity. And what they saw was we showed the pictures of Vivian, who wanted to sell 27 transactions and contribute to her daughter's wedding. She ended up able to pay for her entire daughter's wedding. Victoria wanted to purchase a property in the UK. She was able to purchase her property in the UK. Corey with his investment business, and Joey being able to take more time off on vacation. So I showed this to the team on stage, so they have social proof. This works, and this works with many. We couldn't show them all 30 or 40 agents hit their goals, but then what we did, we had to take this exercise for our summit with more agents, double, triple. How do we make this into a system? How do we make this scalable so that we can do this over and over? Because this is goal setting. It's like we don't want to have to rebuild this every single year as we're growing, because we have 300 agents in several years. What can we put into place? So what we did at the summit was we broke everybody out, very similar to a room like this, a little smaller, into 4 different groups, and each member of leadership went over to the groups and facilitated this go to the board exercise. How many transactions, your one lever, and your personal accomplishment. And the personal accomplishment has got to be very great. I want more freedom. Great. What are you going to do with your freedom? I want more money. What are you going to do with your money? Like, make them be very, very specific. It has to, what is that one specific thing? So then they wrote all their goals down, and we stuck them all on the wall and made this beautiful mural while we're in the summit. So the second half of the day, all these outside agents come in, they see our entire company goals and what we're made out of right here. And then after we do this exercise, we're up on stage and we're asking, hey, if so-and-so says they want to do 30 or 40 transactions, do you think that's realistic? Do you think they can do more? Should they plan on less? And they're getting buy-in by their peers. So when we do this one by one, it's hard to do it with 100 agents, but we do it enough so it gets, not only have we provided social proof, but now we have social buy-in. And we do this as an entire company. So when we're done with this exercise and everybody has done this, everybody's on the same page, and this has really helped strengthen our core and our agents understand what exactly this organization is all about. Because it's not the first time that they've seen this exercise. They saw this through the onboarding, through the whole process. So we've baked this into the entire system of how we grow and put their goals in front of them.
So here are some of the results that we've achieved over the last few years. The way we measure success of an agent is over a 2-year period. And when we looked at agents that were at our brokerage for 2021 and 2022, we had an average annual growth of 14% year over year. Average production per agent for these 35 agents was $7 million, and our successful letters were database immersion, pipeline building with leads, executing on referral conversions, putting the automation in place, and attend and participate in training. And one of our core values is all in, and we talk about that with the agents all the time, because what we know, what all in means is someone that's in their business, but also in our teachings, our trainings, our culture. And by far, in any way you measure it, the people that show up the most are the ones that are the most successful. So that's why we keep hammering out our core values, because it actually works. This is a look at our Leads Success Program. In closed 224 leads in 2022. There's the various price points, 154 Zillow leads. We're the #1 Zillow Flex team in Austin. Catalyst is Johnny has done an amazing job of ongoing training. He's going to talk about that in a second. Our Zillow Flex program, and then SEO and retargeting. And so this is the awards that we won.
Go talk to Caleb that way about the awards.
This is the awards that we won in 2021. And the reason this is important and we show this to you is because it shows, we had Best Places to Work by the ABJ, the Austin American Statesman, #1 top workplaces. And when we have these awards and they're at a place that we can actually celebrate them, we do 1 or 2 or 3 tables, whatever we can put together. We have the agents come to that award show, and we'll show you a picture of the ABJ where the theme was a spaceman thing, and we all dressed up as NASA people. And the agents celebrate that. They put it all over social media. It's great for the culture and letting other people know what a fun place we have to work at.
So, and on that, Ryan and I are not boastful people when we win. And I know someone asked earlier today, who in here likes to win? Who are champions and winners? And we are. Who's #1s? We can raise our hands, but we're not boastful. So these accolades for us, it's like, wow, this is an opportunity for us to feed our culture, not to brag about how well we just did, but let's get our people involved in what they just accomplished, which goes into our culture. So culture isn't just something that you can talk about and have. So we don't just walk the walk. You can't just talk about it. You got to talk we don't just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk, right? So that takes an investment in the brokers. First, it takes an investment in understanding the people in your organization and what the heartbeat looks like so that you can create an organic culture. So there's things that we've recognized and we plug in, like accountability, so that we can keep a cohesive culture. We have a culture committee, which is led by a chairperson, basically, and any of the agents in the company can participate in the culture committee. They have a lot of ideas on how they want to serve the community or give back or different events. So they can, if they have an event that they want to champion, they get to, with the culture committee, get a bunch of agents to rally around their interest, and we go out there and we tackle that objective. And these are some of the things that we've done in 2022. A Community First Village that we've done a couple projects at, helping clean up landscaping. We built an amazing garden over there. It was incredible. Park cleanup, we've cooked at a community kitchen, an Alzheimer's walk. Every fall we'll do a Coats for Kids drive, and last year we sponsored 72 kids for holiday gift giving. And they have quarterly meetings, and this is something we talk about at the huddle, like y'all get involved here, and it really helps people really feel welcome when they know that we have an actual culture committee that they can feed into.
So here's a look at our reviews. This slide's like 10 months ago. I think we're like over 700 reviews between both of our offices now. But we get the agents involved in review contests. In a couple weeks, we're having Ninja Selling Installation come down to Austin, and the cost of that's expensive. It's 4 days of training. It's about $850 a person. And we had a review contest and got the agents involved, and the top 2 winners of reviews got their $850 tuition for that week of training paid. And I think we got like 130 reviews that month, and really gets the agents involved in wanting to have reviews for us, which help us with Google Maps and Google SEO and all that stuff. So just a good thing to have review contest. And then we share our vision with our agents. This was in January of this year. Our goal was to have 175 agents. Our average agent production year over year, looking at a 12-month period, a 24-month period of agents, is we want them to have about 8 million on average, right, with the top agents and some of the lower volume agents. Strong culture and brand awareness. We want to be an admired corporate citizen. We want to get the #1 spot for best places to work. We've never got it yet. We've been #2. Bringing experienced top agents. We're getting into farm and ranch. We're working on a luxury presence. And then we also share the 3-year vision. But I will tell you, agents get nervous when you talk about bringing on other agents. So what we're really careful about when we share this vision is that, these 175 and the 250 is almost an arbitrary number, because what we want is production. We want agents that are production. Yes, we will take a chance on an agent that is between 1 and 3 years in the business, that has done between 1 and 3 million, that can feed into our leads and we can help them. But they're going to have to be able to prove themselves inside of a year. So we don't want to bring in a bunch of warm bodies. It's just not our style. And we share that vision with our agents.
So when you're growing a real estate company, or if you want to grow a real estate company, whether or increase profitability or revenue with either the agents you have currently in your company or bringing on other agents, you're not just training them on how to work with buyers or sellers or convert homes. You have to train them on, well, if you want, for our goal and increasing agent production, how to be more efficient in their business so that they can be more profitable, maximize their profitability by teaching them how to be efficient. So being here today, we're all training today. We're all learning so that we can go back and we can learn things on how to be more efficient. AI, technology, what we're learning today to enhance our businesses, this is what's important. So if an agent wants to join Spyglass Realty, it's important that they know that we're going to be putting a path in front of them. It's, we're very nimble, so things that we can train on, it's relevant, timely, driveway consultations, things that they need to learn about and know now. We have a consistent training schedule, and that's very important. So agents know we're going to be training on these days, these times, every single week. Show up. Here's the topics. Here's what we're going to learn. So if they've been doing these things along the way, their goal-setting workbook, any of these things along the path of self-discovery. I know someone in here asked me the other day, like, how do I identify all the pain points for 130-something agents? That's really hard to do in all the one-on-ones. Well, if they do their work in the goal-setting workbooks, they do any of that stuff along the way, they're going to start to identify their own pain points. And then they can start to show up to the trainings that are going to help them. And then they can come to me and they can say, hey, I'm struggling in these areas. And I say, great, let's tackle that. So these are some graphics that we put up. I do open office hours. So some of the things we do for trainings, we've got consistent trainings that are going to be, we're changing it up a little bit now. We're going to be 3 hours once a week, various subjects into different playbooks, technology, internet leads, buyers, sellers, everything you can imagine. And the best thing is, like Ryan was showing us in Workplace, is in every one of these groups, like our agent training workplace group, you can click on the videos button and you can scroll through hundreds of sales training videos that we've done.
Yeah, you can go into Workplace and put appraisal addendum or escalation clause. And so we have hundreds of hours of training that an agent can go in and watch. But we don't rely on that because, we want live interactive training. I mean, sometimes these training groups have 7 people on them and they can ask questions. So it's really valuable, especially for experienced agents, to revisit some of the stuff the shit that we think we know that we need to be reminded of every year. So.
Yeah, and it's easily searchable in Workplace. Everything's indexed. There's a whole library of ton of our trainings. So if there's ever questions, like we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We get a lot of the same questions. Then we have a training on it. It's in there. If we get that question, we can just tag them in that video. Say, hey, here it is. Next time you can search it. So also we do a 30-minute huddle every Tuesday. I mentioned we do the core value shout outs. I do open office hours once a week. You see my little graphic with Christopher walking up there. I do that in person, via Zoom, and live streamed as well. So if they're in person, great, we're going to chat. They can be on Zoom. It's also live streamed in a general channel. So everybody in the company is going to learn. I figured out I record everything that I do so they can learn from everything that I'm doing. So and Ryan's put all the technology in front of us. So Zillow training, because it's such a monster for us with leads. We have like almost 80 agents in Zillow.
So guys, is that the last slide?
And let's see.
Oh, yeah. So all of the spreadsheets for the agents are in the QR code. And thank you for your time.
Now that you've seen our entire presentation, please hit the contact button. You can reach Joey at the number below, or you can email me at ryan@spyglassrealty.com. My phone number is 512-883-4074, and we would love to talk to you about your future career in real estate at Spyglass Realty.